All in Sports Network. We love sports.
This is your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns right here on All In Horns. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is Jake Jimerson. And the Texas Longhorns hang on to beat the Kentucky Wildcats 16-13 in overtime. This is our immediate reaction following the game. And Jake, that
Never
was
in doubt.
That
Never
was
in
a tough
doubt.
watch. Yeah, that was a tough one. I mean, I don't even really know where to begin other than, we both knew that the defense was going to have to win this game for this offense. I don't think either one of us expected the offense to be that bad. Offensive line was really bad. Quarterback play was just as bad, even whenever he had time. Arch can't hit a crossing route to save his life. Missing wide open receivers, tight end play was bad. This resorted back to first month of the season type football for the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, I mean, this offense looked worse than it did at Florida.
Yeah.
The offensive line, especially because at least we knew the Florida defense was good. This is a Kentucky defense that was around 88th or 90th in the country in run stop, around 108th in pass defense, a terrible pass rush all year long. Everything was working for them. They shut down the run. Wisner averaged 2.8 yards a carry. Their longest run of the day was once again Arch Manning with 14 yards. Their longest run by running back was 8. I thought Kentucky won both sides of the line of scrimmage, to be honest.
They did.
Really, Kentucky just shot themselves in the foot with negative plays in this game. And
egregious play calling.
I really want to find this offensive coordinator for Kentucky. I want to find his Venmo. And I want, as a Texas fan base, to send him Venmos for calling run up the middle, run up the middle, run up the middle, every single short yardage situation. Because they moved the ball pretty at will against this defense, I would say. For most of the game, it didn't feel like Kentucky had very many 3 and outs. They controlled the clock, limited the possessions, converted third downs, and
however,
they had
Texas gave them the possessions right back.
the offense was terrible, but I don't think this defense is as good as last year.
No,
I don't think they're
they can't recover
close.
A fumble.
Oh yeah, and just this team just lacks a it factor outside of that OU game so far. Not recovering fumbles is one that really sticks out. And the offensive line is just getting beat up every week. I mean, they got beat up in the OU game. I think I said it in the middle of this week. I said they're getting a little too much credit for that OU game. There were still 25 pressures in that game. And it was really, going back and rewatching that OU game, it was Arch Manning on third down, converting a lot of 3rd and 7 and pluses.
I mean, Arch Manning is getting pressured on 40% of his dropbacks. Again,
he's getting
Arch
pressured
Manning
on three-man rushes.
I mean, Arch Manning is still not playing great football. Today was another UTEP type performance. It looked very reminiscent to what we saw in the first month of play from Arch Manning. He was doing his sidearm bullet pass on the run on his back foot bullshit again. And again, it was just not good quarterback play. But again, his offensive line didn't help him. And if the offensive line helped him, guess what? The running backs didn't capitalize on any type of consistent running either. I thought penalties, really stupid penalties, a lot on the offense, false starts, holdings, all sorts of things. The big guys up front looked lost today. Them missing Cole Hudson, I didn't think it was going to be that big of an issue, but apparently
Cole Hudson has struggled this year. Robertson's unplayable.
It's because he can't make the right calls at the line of scrimmage. You can't get your protection correct. I mean, I know it doesn't all solely fall on the center, but it does. He is kind of the main catalyst of communication on the offensive line. And that was obviously just very apparent that it was lacking in terms of disguised blitz pickups, gap assignments, things of that nature that the offensive line needs to do. It was awful tonight. I mean, it was terrible. This was maybe the worst offensive performance I've seen, and that's talking about the UTEP game. That's including the UTEP game under Steve Sarkisian. I thought a lot of the play calling was pretty questionable, in my opinion. I didn't really love the play calling, but again, the execution's so bad. What can you call? So it goes hand in hand.
I get but he's trying to QB draw on third down, because if you do a drop back pass, you're going to get sacked or you're going to get killed before you even get the pass off. He's just trying. He's throwing darts at the board. And I get it, because I watch this offense. I don't know what the solution is long term. Everyone got a little too high after that OU game on thinking the offense had solved everything and the offensive line had solved everything. And then, the injury doesn't help. But regardless, I don't know when you can't run the ball, and so far we've only really seen one game where they have run the ball well. I would say they ran the ball fine against Ohio State, but again, Ohio State was allowing that. The OU game was the game where they ran the ball well against a good team, where it was a threat. They have not ran the ball outside of the OU game as a legitimate threat against any team with a pulse this year.
No.
And that makes moving the ball that much harder, especially when you have a young quarterback that clearly has a tendency to start to get rattled when he is just repeatedly getting hit as soon as the ball snapped. What blew my mind again was early, they brought a 3-man rush, and Arch legitimately had to escape out of the pocket and throw a ball on the run, like within a couple seconds. A 3-man rush.
Yeah, Cutter Boley, Jake. He's in his career has started 5. This was his 5th game that he has started in his career. And he was 31 of 39, 258 yards, only averaged 6 yards per passing play. He also had 14 carries for 45 yards and a rushing touchdown on top of it. I'm at a point of excusing the lack of experience for Arch whenever less experienced quarterbacks are outplaying him. I know it's
whose offensive line played better in this game by a large margin.
I can't just simply say Arch Manning is. I'm not giving him a pass anymore.
That's fine. If you want to jump off of the Arch train,
I never said I'm jumping off. I'm just saying I'm done giving him excuses of the offensive line. We know the offensive line sucks. We know the offensive line isn't doing anything. The running game's not helping either. But Arch is just not playing good football either. Like, there are moments where there are plays where he's had open receivers wide open and he's just missing them, just flat out missing them. It's gotten to a point now where this offense, there's nothing that's clicking. Even when something good goes right on an offensive line and the blocking is good, the quarterback's missing throws. Whenever the quarterback's making throws and the offensive line is blocking, the wide receivers are dropping passes. The running backs can't do anything. I mean, there's no answer. And I feel bad for Sark, because I think you're right. I do think he's just throwing darts at the board, hoping something lands. And the player execution is just, it's at an all-time low, it feels like.
Yeah, I'm just saying, when everything around you sucks, you start to suck too. And that's kind of the case with Arch Manning. I'm just saying, is Arch going to play great, just absolutely lights out at any point this year? No. I thought he played good enough against Florida and obviously against OU to win those games. But the team around him is not good. He's not going to carry this offense at any point this year more than we've already seen him, because he carried the offense for what little they did against Florida. He carried the offense a lot against OU with the amount of third downs he converted. And that's what this offense is going to be. There's going to be games where Arch can carry them. There's going to be games where Arch struggles and the offense is going to be horrible. And that's just what this offense is going to be the rest of the year, because they're not going to find a consistent run game at any point. And then also the they don't have a guy who's a threat to make a contested catch. Ryan Wingo hasn't made a contested catch in his career, it feels like. If a defender is on him or remotely touches him while he's trying to catch it, it's a drop.
I agree.
Because there was probably, 4 or 5 drops. Between drops and then some missed passes, there was probably around 150 to 200 yards of offense at minimum left on the field. And probably at least 2 or 3 touchdowns off of that.
It felt as though, or it feels as though, like you're saying and alluding to, I think the tight end play has been horrendous this year.
Horrible.
I think tight end play has been really bad. And that's one thing in Sark's offense in previous years, whether it be JT Sanders or it be Gunnar Helm, that has been a catalyst and something that has to be good for what feels like it kind of opens up all the underneath things. And if that opens up the underneath thing, then that intermediate passing game opens up a little bit more, and then the deep game opens up a little bit more. Sark's offense is all kind of a chain reaction of how one portion of that offensive scheme works, and if one of it doesn't work, one part isn't functioning properly, then it affects the rest of the offense. And the tight end play, I think has been horrible. I think the wide receiver play, like you said, there's not a contested catch that we've seen all season long.
Other than Livingston's had some for sure.
And
Livingston is the only bright spot
on the wide receiver. DeAndre Moore is a ghost. He's good for maybe 1 or 2 targets a game and maybe 1 or 2 catches a game.
Yeah, and again, part of that is they don't have long enough to throw the ball down. Like some people are like, where are the deep shots? Well, they don't have time to throw a deep shot. They just don't. Also, teams are just going to sit in 2 to 3 high safeties the whole year because you don't have to respect this run game. If you have a competent front, you really don't have to respect this run game. Unless Texas can get it going in some games, but like they did against OU. But this offense is going to just continue. And the thing is, I don't think this defense is going to do that good once they play a really good offense.
Yeah, Jake, I think your point on the defense is spot on about they just allow a lot of yards. And they've made
almost 400 yards in this game. And yes, part of that's on the offense causing them to stay on the field. But Kentucky was driving the ball from the first drive on. They didn't have very many.
The final drive of the game.
That was easy. They made Cutter Boley look like Vince Young at times in this game. The defense, again, the Kentucky offensive coordinators play calling on short yardage situations are the reason Kentucky didn't have around 30 points in this game.
Mark Stoops is a wimp. He plays such a conservative style of football. It frustrates me as an opponent playing against him. That's how I can imagine being a Kentucky Wildcat football fan, which I can only imagine there's only a handful out there. There's probably Kentucky basketball.
They were all in the stadium tonight.
Yeah. But dude, I can't imagine watching Mark Stoops coach football consistently because we saw it against Georgia last year. Again, very conservative play calling. And it were just moments where it's like, what are you doing? You're settling for a run on 3rd down to make 4th down easier and to kick a field goal? You're not even going to go for it and then just runs up the middle. Whenever you do go for it on 4th down, you just run it straight up the gut where you know you're going to get demolished.
When their quarterback had converted so many 3rd and shorts with smart decision making and
just a designed rollout, and he would have gotten it. He would have converted whatever 1st down or touchdown they needed.
And I'm not saying the Texas defense played horrible tonight or anything. Obviously, they ended up winning them this game. They made the plays when it's needed. I'm just saying when they go to play a A&M, when they go to play a Georgia, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a game where they give up, 30 plus points.
They're going to get killed by Vanderbilt, I think. I think the Vanderbilt game might get kind of ugly.
Yeah, Vanderbilt, Georgia, and A&M all seem like losses to end this season, and Arkansas is probably going to be a competitive game just because I think their offense is going to have a lot of success against this defense. Luckily, their defense might be about as good as Sam Houston's, so the offense should be able to play well in that game.
Yeah, we'll see.
But it's just at this point, you just gotta hope they win week by week, and you just got to take the wins as wins because it's not going to be pretty. I mean, the OU game wasn't pretty. We're just pumped up because there's a Red River win, and that's the hope is that they just find way to win some of these football games. I will say I saw some funny tweets coming from some SEC fans. One from Brooks Austin, who's a Georgia fan, and he said he's the film guy on YouTube. He said, "Dear Texas fans, you aren't true SEC fans till you sweat out a 13-7 win in Lexington." So this is and it wasn't just him. I saw a lot of other SEC fans. I think even saw the Barstool SEC account tweet some of This is Texas's rite of passage. You have to, early on in your SEC lives, win the ugliest football game you've ever seen in Lexington. And there is something to that. We talked about that going into this game.
We saw it last year against Georgia. Georgia won like 13-10 or something like that.
And Georgia was in an ugly game against Kentucky until late in the like third, fourth quarter. This year, Kentucky makes games ugly sometime, and that's and
Mark
hopefully
Stoops'
that's what
specialty.
And hopefully that's what this game ends up being. Because at the end of the day, we can sit here and talk like we lost, because in some ways it feels like that, but that's partly because that's the expectation of Texas football now.
I've also never been more pissed off about a win in probably my entire life. But yeah, no, you're exactly right.
I was pretty pissed off after the UTEP win.
That's true.
But Texas is 5-2
USC.
and 2-1 in SEC play. Go win next week in Starkville, and you at least set up for that Vanderbilt game to be a really big game. And then you just take it week by week, because I think this offense, it's going to be a roller coaster. We're going to have some weeks where it looks a lot better. Then everyone's going to do what we did after OU game and be like, it's fixed. They're going to be awesome the rest of the year. Then they're going to have a game where they're really bad. It's just going to be a mixed bag, because this offensive line has no semblance of consistency. Arch Manning, himself doesn't have consistency. Part of that has to do with the play around him. But like you said, there are times where he has time and he misses it. And I think he's got to find a way to not. He didn't get rattled in the OU game when he had pressure. He got rattled in this game.
Yeah.
And it shows up. You can tell by his mechanics when he's getting rattled.
He does the Uncle Rico crap, man. And it's so frustrating to watch. All right, let's hear from our sponsors at Underdog. And then when we come back, we'll do a little mid-week checkup on our All-In Horns entry that we've got going on. Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code HORNS to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code HORNS. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 and up. 19 and up in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 and up, and in Colorado for some games. 21 and up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and must be present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. All right, Jake, let's take a look here. I'm just going to do a quick little pop-up as our All-In Horns entry. We're halfway through the entry of cashing this bad boy out. And we've got Malachi Toney. He went higher on the 69.5 receiving yards. Jeremiah Love literally making love to the end zone right now as I'm watching them beat USC. He is dry humping the end zone in celebration. That is a Christian school, by the way, disgusting act by Jeremiah Love, but he did get in the end zone and had a career day against USC. So, we are the Puka Nacua touchdown, I'm sure, since he's out. And I actually
typically those get nullified.
Right. Have they even said that he's out yet? Officially out?
I'm pretty sure they announced it like the day after you.
No, there was they announced his injury, but I don't know if he's like officially out. Officially. But anyway.
Oh yeah, I think he was ruled out. Yeah, Puka Nacua, yeah, from the Rams website. Looks like he was ruled out. So that should be nullified, hopefully.
Should be nullified. So now we are just all aboard the Xavier Worthy touchdown train at noon. So
luckily I got my entry in after the Puka Nacua injury got announced. So I left him off. So if it's not, it's still alive for me.
Yeah.
But
And if he's not, I might have to call our friends at Underdog and say, hey, what's up with that? Yeah.
typically those are nullified by sites, and when they don't play, they're probably just waiting for it to be officially official. He's not playing.
Right. I'm having a little bit better of a week this week. On Saturday anyway, I had Louisville covering the spread. Louisville with a big win over Miami, and then I had Texas A&M higher than the 61.5 total points against Arkansas. That hit in the third quarter. By the way, that game got into like the 80s in terms of the higher lower spectrum, and so of total points scored. So I'm currently 2-2. I will be 2-3 following the USC closure of that game because I had USC with the points at 7.5. But still got a lot of NFL left for tomorrow, and also still have the All In Horns still riding high. So All In Horns entry can change everything this weekend. And so I enjoy us doing that. Should be a fun one. But Jake, let's go ahead and wrap up the episode here today. I think people can kind of tell we're not happy with this win. A win is a win. I'm happy with a win. I don't want to say I'm not happy. I'm upset with how we played. Glad we were able to come up with a win. Girlfriend came out of the room while I was watching this game, and she said, "It's that bad, huh?" I was like, "Well, we're winning right now." And she's like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, it just is kind of one of
College
those
football's
games."
a weird drug. It's not like the NFL where you truly are just fine with a win against anyone in the NFL. The college can feel a little different just because
Yeah.
There's games where you're clearly the better roster.
Not all undefeateds are created equal. Not all wins and losses are created equal in college football. That's just how it works. And speaking of undefeated teams, a couple of them go down this week. Texas Tech went down. Miami went down. There was another loss. Two ranked teams on Friday went down, with Nebraska losing to Minnesota as well.
Big one in the G5. Memphis fell in the Battle of the Bones to UAB, who's not a good team this year.
You know all about those Blazers.
Yeah, it's my team in the All In Horns dynasty. You had top 10 Kentucky go down to Vanderbilt. Had no business being top 10, but Virginia squeaked away against Washington State. Washington State giving teams problems last couple weeks.
Top 10 LSU went down to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that's what I thought I said.
You said Kentucky. I was like, wait a second, are we talking basketball?
Oh, no, top 10 LSU. So obviously you had the crazy Georgia Ole Miss game, really bad beat on the cover there with Georgia struggle. Going 17-0 in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was tough.
A&M also not covering, by the way. Lost that one too. Not a great day on the gambling streets for me on the spreads. But yeah, kind of a wonky week in college football.
Glad Texas came out with a win.
Down.
Yeah, glad Texas came out with a win in a week where a lot of ranked teams go down. So Vanderbilt will be a top 10 team. If they're not top 10.
Nebraska is another team that finally got in the top 25, and then they went down.
Yep. And then they were out just as fast as they got in.
Missouri's on the ropes currently at Auburn. We don't have a final.
Yeah,
as of the time of that, but that was another one I'm probably
SEC is starting to eat itself alive right now. We're in those dog days, and like I think you mentioned, I think the next 2 weeks is going to tell a lot of where the SEC standings are going to look like over the next couple of weeks.
Looks like we might get another overtime game in Missouri Auburn. I think Auburn just got a pick. Bad offensive game for Missouri. Yeah, crazy week in college football. Miami going down was the real shocker to me.
Yeah.
They had looked really good. And
I mean, and did Virginia end up?
They ended up winning by 2.
Okay.
So they got tested by Washington State. So it looks like Georgia Tech right now would be the clear favorite in the ACC. They were technically underdogs on the road this week. And won that game fairly handedly when it was all said and done.
Yeah, and you've got Utah right now with about 3 minutes left to play. Utah 14, BYU 24. So I'm sure BYU will win that one.
Let me ask you this just real quick before we sign off.
But Bama looks like they're going to take down Tennessee. It's 37-20. So
then the national championships is Ohio State versus Alabama, right?
That's what it looks like. It's what it feels like, yeah.
It feels like those two teams are
inevitable.
a clear step above everyone else.
That's depending on what the brackets look like, but I'd imagine it's going to be Ohio State and Alabama.
That's me thinking Bama will be 1, Ohio State will be 2 by that point, unless it's Indiana. Indiana definitely.
Well, Ohio State's not losing, so I'd imagine they're going to keep undefeated.
Unless they
Ohio
lose to
State.
Indiana in the Big Ten championship game, definitely not going to count out in Indiana yet. They've looked very good, but I guess Ohio State, Alabama, and Indiana look like clearly the only 3 national title contending.
Michigan
teams
State
right now.
was at least fighting Indiana in the first quarter or so, and then
I think Indiana was sleepwalking a little bit
Yeah,
to start that
yeah.
game. That
got a
because
little
they
big
ended
for
up
their
winning that
britches.
game 38-13. They
I think it was 10-7 Michigan State after the first quarter.
I think it was 10-7 in the second. Yeah, it was 7-3 after the first quarter. Then I think Michigan State went up 10-7.
Okay.
And then Indiana got the lead and obviously never let up.
Yeah.
They were sleepwalking after to start that game after the big win at Oregon. Cignetti becomes the third highest paid coach in all of college football.
Good for Indiana, by the way.
Indiana showed that all these programs have the money to do this type of stuff. That's what that told me. And good for Indiana to go, this is our chance to have a mainstay team in college football. This is 2 years in a row where they've had now back-to-back. These are the best 2 teams Indiana's ever had in football. And now Cignetti is almost untakeable from Indiana. Because that buyout to get him, like Penn State's not getting Cignetti. They're paying a $50 million buyout to Franklin. They're not going to pay whatever this ungodly buyout would be to get Cignetti.
I also think it's going to be really funny whenever they hire Clark Lee from Vanderbilt, where they hired James Franklin from. And he ends up being the exact same coach James Franklin was. And he has them, pushing, contending for Big 12 or Big 10 titles, and then loses the big games to Ohio State because guess what? Everybody loses to Ohio State.
Clark Lee might be a Vandy guy, though. Isn't he a Vandy alum?
He is a Vandy alum.
There is a chance he just stays at Vandy. I
think he and the head coach for Georgia Tech, both alumni at those.
Though, hot take here. If I was Clark Lee and I got offered that job, I would take it because you're not going to be good next year. They're losing their whole team.
Yeah.
Like the majority of their team are super seniors, like fifth, 6-year guys.
You mentioned UAB. I forgot to mention this. And yes, we are no longer talking Texas football. So if you just came here just for the Texas reaction, you can probably like, share, and subscribe and then log off. But UAB, Jake, Trent Dilfer gets fired last week. And then they come out and they play so inspired that they beat undefeated and ranked Memphis at home. The week Trent Dilfer gets fired, how bad of a human being do you have to be to when you get fired, your whole team rallies and has the win of maybe their program's history the moment you leave?
Yeah, and sometimes it does happen. Look at UCLA and how they've rallied since their head coach lost. They just won their 3rd game in a row against Maryland. By the way, I'm never buying into people who hype them up preseason.
By the way, I think that's the same quarterback, Jake, that beat Texas.
It is.
Okay.
It is. Is he? I don't know if he's the interim head coach or the
He's
OC.
He's the interim head coach, which was OC. Interim head coach, and he's won 3 straight, and they're averaging like 40 points a game.
Yeah, won today 20-17 against Maryland. But like Penn State, they didn't rally when their coach got fired. They lost today to Iowa 25-24. Penn State 3-4, 0-4 in Big Ten play.
Wow.
It looks like Grunkham, their quarterback, played about as well as Drew Aller does. 93 yards and 2 picks.
I do want to throw out real quickly on the Texas-Kentucky game. Mark Stoops, he was 0-8 in his last 8 SEC games, now 0-9. Kentucky isn't a team that just loses that many SEC games. They're bound to win one. And so it just kind of night game at home. Now that I'm starting to come down from the frustration, I'm starting to think a little bit more logically. But again, it was one of those things of the frustration was there, and rightfully so. All fans have the right to be frustrated, especially during the game. But Kentucky is a good enough program to where they don't typically lose 9 straight SEC games.
No, I mean, so their last win was essentially knocking Ole Miss, causing Ole Miss not to be in the
Yes.
playoffs last year. Because let's not forget,
Yes.
Kentucky last year had that win. We said it going into this week that Kentucky is typically good to screw over an SEC team or two a year, and it typically happens in a night game at home. Texas about fell into that trap. There's no excuse for how the offense looked tonight. But at the end of the day, as far as Texas's season goes, they're in the same spot they were going into this week. They're still fighting. They're still alive. So
and
that's
controlling the majority of their destiny, I would say.
I think that would I pick them to go to the playoffs right now? Absolutely not. I wouldn't have picked them to go to the playoffs after OU. I still thought they had probably 2 to 3 losses left after the OU game.
Well, I said they weren't a ranked team after the UTEP game, so I've had them out of the playoffs since then. So,
well, yeah, I don't think either of us would have picked them to go to the playoffs after we started seeing the play from week to week.
Yeah.
But we'll see, because we can say that, but this team can go out there and prove us wrong, like they did in the Red River game. So we'll just it's going to be such a week by week approach with this Texas team. They got to go in and win at Starkville. Mississippi State's going to be desperate for a win. They dropped a close one at Florida today. That game's not going to be easy either. And the offense is going to have to play better because Mississippi State's going to score some points against this defense.
I'm watching the local news right now following the USC Notre Dame game. They're interviewing this hot chick on at the Texas State Fair, and her T-shirt says "Hot girls love hot dogs," and she's just downing a corn dog. This is on the local news, by the way. It's late. It's like it's a 10:30 time.
We're gonna have to give you the good old bonk, the first Tanner bonk on the podcast, because A, you don't have an overtime game on in Missouri and Auburn. B, just an obvious the horny dog bonk situation here. We got Underdog as a sponsor. Now we got a horny dog doing a bonk on Tanner. By the way, people, this is just a glimpse into the enigma that is
this
Tanner
is a
Carlson.
very small glimpse of the inside the brain of Tanner Carlson. So, all right, that's gonna do it for today's
Jackson Arnold
episode.
is so bad. I just
I gotta find that game. Get that game. Oh, there it is. All right, yeah. All right.
He is a statue in the pocket in the worst possible way.
Yeah, he's the worst. Yeah. Oh, just saw the sack. Yeah. All right. That's gonna do it for today's episode. Texas comes away with a win. Sneak one out. 16-13 over Kentucky in overtime. And that's going to do it. Please like, share, and subscribe if you've made it this far into the video. There's no reason for you not to have subscribed by now. I'm Tanner Carlson. That's Jake Jimerson. As always, ladies and gentlemen, with a sigh of relief, welcome.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.